How are you today? What's your name?
My name is Donna. I'm doing so good. How about you?
Yeah, you were walking, we stopped you, and we're asking people what their favorite book is. You said you're reading or you love poetry.
Yes. Yeah. There's this poem that's called, actually, I thought it was 10, it's 20. 20 love poems in a song of despair. It's I'm pretty sure it's translated from like Latin. I'm pretty sure at least. But it's, I don't know, it's a really cool book in a way that's kind of like, that was like my first start for poetry. And then I kind of just like escalated from there. And it's kind of like, I don't know, it feels like very like an old tongue, like kind of like, it feels like some kind of like Romeo and Juliet type of thing. And I really like that feeling. So yeah.
So it's like a romantic poems. Are they like rhyming necessarily? Is that the attraction to them, or
No.
what do you think gets you about them? And let me make sure I'm recording because I always suck at that.
No, it's like, it's not really rhyming. It's just kind of, I feel like, I used to at least think that poetry was only rhyming.
Same.
And that kind of like, I don't know, it kind of like made me upset as a kid. I don't know why, because like, I was like, why is there no like variation into this?
Yeah.
And I mean, this one is just kind of like sentences that really like match together. And it's like, I don't know, it's like a little more satisfying to me because instead of it just being like a Dr. Seuss type of thing where it's like, oh, like green eggs and ham, yeah, it like, it's actually something like more meaningful, I feel like. So
I've been reading like Carlos Drummond de Andrade. It's like my first poetry book I just started reading a poetry book. I've never done that, like read poets, and what I really like is like the imagery. So there's one poem, it's about a death of a milkman, and it ends with the image of blood and milk intertwined, groping for each other.
oh, that's so cool.
And and he somehow connects that to the idea of dawn. Yeah,
That's so cool. That's like satisfying, and it's
Yeah.
like, it's really cool that somebody can like create that image inside of your head. It's like, that's why I really, really like books. You know, it's like,
I could see the impact when I said that about dawn.
yeah, it's like, I feel like it's just books in general. It's like something that like, especially with like movies, I kind of think way more when I read a book because there's like so much more like in depth, I feel like, type of like feeling into it, and it's just kind of like compared to movies, because like I feel like in movies it's just kind of like what people want you to see in a way, but in books it's like you can imagine what's happening, and it's like you can make your own kind of like personal invention into your head, like of how.
And it is your creation. Like you are reading these, you're seeing these lines and then creating a movie in your head. But poetry is even more like what gets you about, for example, the cool jewelry, by the way. 20, what's it called? 20?
I love poems.
Like what do you think it is about maybe that, or just poetry in general, that, because I saw that you appreciated that dawn connection. So like what do you like? It's not the rhyming.
No.
It's the
I don't know. I just feel like it's like, I really like love poems, like I because I feel like there's like a really big like emotional type of aspect to it, and like I really, really like it. And I mean, this one, it's also, they're very short, and it kind of like gets to the point in a way, and it's kind of like, I don't know, like they still find a way to get into your head about something that you kind of just like, you didn't realize before about yourself. And it's something that I really like because it's like, it makes me think about like who I am and like what like type of emotions I have or something like that. And it's like, it's really cool that I can just experience that through a book and just like kind of like realize a lot more things about myself, because it's like, oh, like I went through this, and it's like, oh, like wait, like I never realized that. And there's like so many connections into like, there was one poem I'm pretty sure that was about like the sun, and honestly I thought it's also really cool that like I could talk with my friends about this, because like, for example, I thought the poem was like very like sexual or something like that. I thought it was, at least, but then they were like, no, there's like a completely different meaning to this. It's about love, and it's about like, it's not about like sex, it's about just kind of like the feeling of like falling in love. And I'm like, wow, like I didn't realize that. And it's really cool to like have like hear people's like thoughts about the book, and it's just kind of like, that's what I love about it, at least, because poetry, you can really make it your own, I feel like.
Do you have friends that you can talk about poetry with, or like interpret poems with?
I mean, yeah, I do. I feel like a lot of my friends are kind of less into it, but I actually do have this one specific friend that I can always talk to about it, and she always listens to what I say, and it's just like, we could have like hours of a discussion about just one single book, and it's such a nice thing to be in, like to have like somebody that actually like understands you in that way. So it's like really cool.
What is a like a poem or like an image? Because I really like images in poems, like the image of the milk and the blood, or phrases. Like there's another phrase in that one. It's like that morning that was more night than the night. Yeah, I can see it. So for you, are there like phrases, or there maybe you can share with me like a couple phrases or images that stick out to you, so then I could check it out on the internet.
I mean, I I don't have any like specific phrases in my head because I feel like with me it's like actually a problem because every single time I read something I'm like, oh my god, this is so cool, and then I forget completely what it's about, and then I need to like find it somehow. But I mean, I just feel like, especially in this book, there are some of them that kind of have like an image of like a despair person or something like that, just like falling on the ground or something like that, and it's just, I don't know.
Despair because of like love, they're heartbroken.
Yes. And it's like
I need to read that.
and it's like it's really cool. Like I mean, I feel like it's like a perfect type of book to like at least like it kickstarted my like poetry type of like love. It just kickstarted it because it was it was so good, and it was just kind of like, instead of, I don't know, I feel like a lot of love poetry is not as like, I don't know, because I feel like it's like translated from like a love language, and it's like, and it's just, I feel like it's more, I don't know, like intimate in that way, you know?
More compared to like writers from the like American writers. Although I read some stuff. There's a cafe nearby called Stories that you should check out if you don't know it, and they have a poetry section. And then I just grabbed some randomly, and I grabbed like a Mary Oliver. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's got some. Yeah, I mean the most sensitive stuff I've read has been from Brazilian writers recently, but I've also been kind of zoned in on it. But Mary Oliver had some good stuff. But there's a difference in the way Americans write then, like, or you said that you think it's because of the language, Latin, the language of romance.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of, I feel like different languages have like their own like specific thing that they really deal with. Like when like people, whenever they think of Latin, they think of like love, they think of romance, and it's just kind of like, I don't know, I feel like those people are more like passionate in what like, and it's not that like people
appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and it's like, I feel like, especially, I don't know, like my family is from like Ukraine, Russia, that type of thing, and it's like they have a whole different like idea of how to like books they like, and it's just kind of like, it's really interesting.
And
Yeah. Like that's what I was being taught like when I was little, and it's like they're like, this is the most like, this is a very like intense writer, like he's really good at writing, and I'm like, he is really good at writing, but then I read somebody else from a different kind of culture, and it's like, it's a completely different thing. And I feel like especially books about love, if it's like, you realize that it's like, I don't know, like Latin, like Italian, Spanish, that type of thing, it just kind of makes you feel a little bit more like, I don't know, like in the zone. It's
really?
Like, yeah.
You like the Latinness.
Yeah.
You feel it has, and I think that is a kind of stereotype, right? That there is and it might be true. I think I like that too. That there's like a certain zest for life and love and it's interesting that you said also like different cultures can approach a topic like love in different ways, and then you get to learn about the culture by the way it treats like, how would you say that maybe, I don't know if you read like I haven't read too many Russian writers. I've read like Death of Ivan Ilyich, which I forgot. I think of Tolstoy. I'm not sure if Tolstoy is.
Tolstoy,
yeah. There's a certain. I don't think. Do you think there's a certain? And we'll end right now. But there's a certain flavor, I guess, that you can put a word on for like Russian, Ukrainian. Like, is there? Hopefully, my question makes sense.
No. Your question does make sense. I feel like at least for me, it's a little bit kind of more like tough love type of way, and at least that's how I interpret it. And it's just kind of like, I visited like Ukraine and Russia and stuff like that, and it kind of feels like that, and it's just like, it really like the culture is put into the writing of how people kind of interpret of like, I don't know, like how they usually feel love. And I feel like especially in those like in the Ukrainian and Russian culture, it's like really, I don't know, like like I really really love you, but it's just kind of like I need to love you harsh. Like it's a more like tough way, you know.
Icier
Yeah.
is the weather in some. I think the weather has something to do with it.
Weather always has something to do with it. I swear. Like I just came back like from New York,
Oh really?
and it is so cold there, and it's like a completely different environment here, and it's just like it's so like different. It makes you like feel better. It makes you feel happier because it's like warm outside, and it's like they're kind of stuck in the cold all the time. So it's just yeah.
And then I'll tell one story and then we'll wrap up. But I was in Buenos Aires when I first arrived about 2 years ago. I saw people like taking in the sun, and I thought, wow, people are so connected to nature here. Like, look, they actually go and they sit in front of the sun, because I'm from here, I'm from LA, where people don't really appreciate the sun because it's always out. And once I lived there and I saw how little sun they got, I realized, oh, that's why. That's why. You just sit down because you enjoy it when it comes out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to have that. I mean, like I really like